it's finally happening. After years of waiting, Indonesia will finally have its own aircraft carrier. The news broke recently, with the Italian government finally granting Indonesia the Giuseppe Garibaldi and is expected to arrive before the Indonesian Armed Forces anniversary in October. With this, Indonesia is about to join the carrier club alongside most superpowers. What will Indonesia use this ship for? Also, can a navy that has never operated a carrier handle a 14,000-ton vessel with an 800-plus crew? Let's find out in today's video. The transfer of the Italian aircraft carrier Giuseppe Garibaldi to Indonesia has become one of the most significant maritime developments in Southeast Asia in 2026. The carrier, which served as the flagship of the Italian Navy for decades and remained an active, vital part of the fleet until her decommissioning in 2024, is being transferred to Indonesia as a strategic grant from the Italian government. In a press conference, the Indonesian Navy chiefs stated that the goal is to have the carrier arrive in Indonesian waters before October 5th for the Indonesian Armed Forces anniversary ceremony. Although the carrier itself is a grant free of purchase cost, Indonesia's Ministry of National Development Planning has approved a $450 million foreign loan ceiling to cover the refit, modernization, and transition costs. Moreover, according to Italian news outlets, Indonesian Navy crews are already in the training phase with the Italian Navy to learn the basics and functionality of the carrier. The Indonesian Navy plans to use it mostly for HIDR missions, as well as a mobile command center for drones and helicopters. For those reasons, Giuseppe Garibaldi requires a significant technological facelift to meet the Indonesian Navy's mission requirement. First, she needs a refit and overhaul to extend her service life, which will probably include a zero-hour service of the gas turbines and hull restoration. This process will extend the carrier's operational life by another 15 to 20 years. If the Navy plans to maximize HIDR operations, expansion of onboard medical facilities will also be needed. After decommissioning, the Italian Navy must have dismantled all sensitive sensors and electronics on board Garibaldi. Indonesia is expected to spend a significant portion of the loan to buy modern replacements like C4I equipment and electronics. And since Garibaldi will be transformed into a drone carrier, Indonesia also needs to install the necessary infrastructure on board for drone operations. Although I do understand that the drone fleet and its supporting equipment will be acquired using a different funding source, which I will talk about in a moment. In the Italian Navy, Giuseppe Garibaldi is armed with several self-defense measures, including 2 Mark 29 launchers, 3 Automlara Seawees, and 2 torpedo tubes. I cannot confirm if any of these armaments were removed after decommissioning, but it would be nice if some of them, if not all, are kept on board, since the Indonesian Navy also uses the Seawees and torpedoes from Italy. If not, having some Sofra Ponte on board would be a nice replacement for the Seawees. While there are many alternatives besides the Mark 29 launchers, if Indonesia doesn't want them or requires a cumbersome OEM approval for retransfer. However, given the tight delivery schedule, the refitting may not have enough time. So I suspect that the initial work in Italy is focused on making the carrier voyage ready, being presented at the Armed Forces anniversary in October, while the more extensive modification might happen in Indonesia later on. During the Indo-Defense exhibition last year, Indonesian defense company Republic Corp showcased a proposed overhaul of the carrier, including the dismantling of the old superstructure with a two-island configuration. Although this configuration could optimize flight operation, some warn that this level of modification could cost a lot beyond the $450 million ceiling and requires too much time to do. Now, let's take a look at the aviation fleet she might have. In Italian service, Giuseppe Garibaldi can carry up to 18 aircraft, typically a mix of Harrier jets and AW101 helicopters. In Indonesian service, I guess this would be the Bayraktar TB3 and either the AW101 or the AW159. Last year, Indonesia acquired 60 Bayraktar TB3 from Turkey. The TB3 is the naval version of the famous Bayraktar TB2 served with Ukraine, with foldable wings and the ability to take off and land on small carriers. The size is small enough for Garibaldi to carry dozens of them with ease. and with 24-hour loitering time, it's certainly way more than the Harrier, which can only stay in the air for about 2 hours. Plus, Indonesia can lose drones and can replace them quite easily, unlike the Harrier. Besides a fixed-wing drones, helicopters are gonna be a fixture of the air wing as well. I'm not really sure what it's gonna be, but it's definitely from Leonardo's catalog. Garibaldi carries the AW101 in the Italian Navy, and the carrier was designed with hangars and elevators sized perfectly for the helos. So, it's the most logical option for the Indonesian Navy and the best option to support Garibaldi's main role in HIDR mission. It has a massive payload capacity, a large internal space, carries up to 30 troops, and can be equipped with ASW equipment for submarine hunting missions. But if the AW101 is too large and too expensive, then the alternatives can be the AW159. The Wildcat is smaller and considerably more affordable, making it the best option if Indonesia wants to save space inside the carrier and save some money. It's specialized for anti-submarine and anti-surface warfare too. It comes equipped with dipping sonar, ISA radar, as well as sonobuoy, and can also be equipped with missiles and torpedoes, perfect for protecting the carrier from small boats and submarines. I also read rumors from Jens and the Aviation Geek Club that the deal could include Italy's remaining Harrier jets. But I feel like this is very unlikely since it would cost a lot for operation and maintenance. And if Indonesia someday requires a carrier-based jet, Director Kizilelma could be an option. I said it before on my channel that for Indonesia, having a flat-top vessel is a matter of when, not if. As the largest archipelagic nation surrounded by 2 big oceans, I feel like having a carrier is a necessity. It poses strategic value in operational flexibility and speed of intervention that Indonesia didn't have before, both for humanitarian and military operations. From what I see, there's no downside for the Indonesian Navy of having a carrier. However, having a carrier is one thing. Operating and sustaining it until the end of its service life is another. I mean, we don't want the Garibaldi to become another Chakri Naruebet in Indonesian service, right? Thailand's aircraft carrier, which rarely leaves port due to the astronomical cost of fuel and maintenance. Giuseppe Garibaldi will be more expensive than Thailand's carrier, which makes some worry that it will drain the Navy's budget if not well managed. Of course, this is a concern that we have yet to see. Second, Garibaldi is a big fat target at sea. In combat operations, the enemy will throw everything they have to sink the carrier. The Navy will have to assign warships to protect and support it. They made decent progress by acquiring the Brawijaya class, launching the Red White frigate, and building the Scorpion Evolved submarine. Although the composition is decent as escort, these are the Navy's newest asset with limited quantity. It would be dangerous if the Navy's most advanced warships were all used to protect one ship while leaving other areas open for the enemy to exploit. More ocean-going warships are definitely needed, but I do hope the Navy could just stick to the types they already own. And lastly, having a carrier doesn't instantly turn Indonesia into a blue water navy. I said it in the beginning that the Indonesian Navy has no prior experience operating this kind of warship. Therefore, proficiency in carrier operation must be forged and maintained for generations. It's a big challenge for the Navy and for Indonesia in general, but I think everyone watching here believes that we can do it. What do you think about Indonesia's first carrier, Giuseppe Garibaldi? Is having the TB3 and helicopters enough, or should the Navy add the Kizilelma into the mix too? Let us know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching everyone. I'll see you in the next one.